Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And by today's story, or the story that's going around social media and the news media, it just seems like the sicknesses just keep out sicking each other. Tonight, we're going to talk about the story of the man in this photograph here. His name is Glenn Greenwald. Now, Glenn Greenwald, if some of you don't know who he is, he's the guy who many years ago, I think it was in 2012 or 2013, he broke the Eric Snowden story. Eric Snowden smuggled out American secrets out of, I think it was in Thailand or something like that, and he released them, and it became this huge embarrassment for the U.S. government. And Greenwald was one of the reporters on top of it, and I think he even won a Pulitzer Prize. He is a big deal, or he was a big deal at one point in time, but now it just seems that sexual disobedience has reared its ugly head again. Glenn Greenwald has had a tape released of him having, I'm going to assume it's gay sex, gay debauchery with a Brazilian prostitute. According to the story by the Daily Beast, and this is for informational purposes, of course, Greenwald was involved in what the Daily Beast and what a lot of people are calling a wild sex ramp. Those are my words. The Daily Beast, and I quote, has seen the video and has decided not to disclose what took place. It is clear that they feature Greenwald, albeit, and this is amazing, Greenwald dressed in a plaid miniskirt and a bikini top. In the footage, Greenwald does appear to send around $1,700, which is about 10,000 Brazilian reals. So this obviously is in Brazil, to an account via PayPal for the encounter. So he paid a prostitute for sex, which right off the bat destroys a man's credibility. Right off the bat. Now, I've read some other articles concerning this video where he is he's on his hands and knees and he's tied up and he's licking toes, and that's where the banner comes from. And this is just a disaster. And it doesn't. I don't care what Greenwald says here. He made the statement. He said, see if I could find it. He wrote a lengthy Twitter, and I'll read that to you. But Greenwald, who is the father of two children, Glenn Greenwald has a checkered past. Glenn Greenwald is about 58 years old. And at the age of 38, he married a young Brazilian boy. So he has a thing for Brazilians, and who can blame him? If you've ever been to Brazil, and I've been to women, of course, but I've been to Brazil a few times, and I probably have about 30 kids down there. He married this 19-year-old boy, 19-year-old guy. Well, he was 38. And they adopted two children together. And it just goes to show that Greenwald is a servant to the flesh. He does not hide that fact. And Greenwald says in a statement here, and I quote, "Obviously, it's an uncomfortable and an unpleasant when your private behavior is made public against your will, but the only wrongdoing here is the criminal and malicious publication of the videos in an attempt to malign perceived political enemies and advance a political agenda. I will continue all my prongs. I will continue all the many prongs of my journalism and pursue the causes most important to me exactly as before." Now, I worked in journalism before. I was a writer for a news agency. I can tell you that, and he's at a much higher level than I was. The only thing a journalist has is their credibility. And Greenwald here, because of sexual disobedience, has lost that. And you're going to have people who are going to defend him and say that they don't care what he does in his bedroom or with who, and as long as it's consenting and the person's of age, and they're right. I don't give a damn what Glenn Greenwald does in his private life. Who cares? But how can you take him seriously if he criticizes another individual? He criticizes a lot of people. He's criticized Jake Tapper recently of CNN. He has criticized governments. But here's a guy who engaged, according to many other news reports, in some of those debauch acts that a guy can get himself involved in, and he's dressed up in women's clothing, which I don't even want to picture that. And he's shown that he has a terrible weakness, especially for people who are much, much younger than he is. And I'll tell you another thing. It will be almost impossible for him to get a source that trusts him. Because now that he has this tendency to succumb to flesh, he also has opened himself up for more blackmail, because he can't have this happen again. I mean, this is a disaster, and how he will ever find anyone, any publication or any news agency to take him seriously, where they're going to allow him to be a pundit or to report for them, I don't know. I don't see it. Now, again, this guy's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, but these are things that just ruin your credibility. They just ruin your credibility. And let's read the statement that Greenwald put up on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Greenwald, and I quote, "Last night, videos were released online depicting behavior in my private life." I already read this. Some were distorted and others were not. They were published without my knowledge or consent, and its publication was therefore criminal. Though we do not yet know exactly who is responsible, we are close to knowing, and the motive was a malicious political one. As for the content of the videos, I have no embarrassment or regret about them. This is the problem that I have now. Okay, again, you can do whatever you want in the privacy of your own home. But when these become leaked, so the entire world and their mama knows what's going on, you lose a tremendous amount of credibility. He goes on to say the videos depict consenting adults engaging in intimate actions in their private lives. That's not necessarily true. It's consenting adults. One is being paid to be there. So you have one consenting adult and one paid adult. They all display fully consensual behavior, harming nobody. Obviously, it can be uncomfortable and unpleasant when your private behavior is made public against your will. That's why the behavior is private in the first place. The only wrongdoing here is the criminal malicious publication of the videos in an attempt to malign perceived political enemies and advance a political agenda. Others are, of course, free to form their own judgments. We'll talk about judgments later, as some are prone to do about others' private lives. It won't change my work. I will continue all the many prongs of my journalism and pursue the causes that are most important to me, as exactly before, as I read before. Now, there is Greenwald. As we said, his career is based on two things: credibility and sources. I don't believe he'll ever be able to get anybody to trust him again. He has a history of succumbing to desires of the flesh, and this can lead you to blackmail. And if you have a source, especially a high-level government source, with a major story, they're not going to be able to trust you, because obviously, You cannot control. Glenn Greenwald cannot control himself, and he is a target for what you would call honeypots. Those are people who seduce you and get you in compromising positions, and they videotape you, and then they will blackmail you. And in this case, they may blackmail him for the name of his sources, and he has two children to protect. He has his life to protect. Who's to say if he doesn't give up these sources? And the sources, you know, you can say whatever you want. He can say whatever he wants, that he would never give up his sources, but the sources can't trust him. So this is why it's going to be very, very difficult for him to be able to get any inside information to get back into the loop of things, because he, again, has no credibility. He has no leg to stand on. Now, as for the video itself, first of all, anybody who would videotape themselves doing these wild and crazy things has got to be insane. And he's probably a little mentally ill. He probably has issues. He's probably a sexual deviant. And he likes young guys. Who knows how old this prostitute was? If you've ever been to Brazil, you have to be very, very, very careful down there, because Brazil is not the richest country in the world. It's terribly corrupt. It has all the natural resources that a country could want, but it's just not run properly as a government. And prostitution down there is rampant. I mean, you can meet the most beautiful girl in the world and think you struck it rich, but she'll ask you for money, which is unfortunate. But this wasn't by accident. Greenwald, even though he is a leftist, even though I would say he's more center left, he's pretty, I would say, fair. And he attacks governments. He attacked George Bush. He attacked Barack Obama. He attacked a country named Israel, which you will do at your own peril. So he has a lot of political enemies, very powerful political enemies. And these things just don't pop out of thin air. This guy, somebody in there recorded this and got the goods on Greenwald and wanted to destroy him. And they might have done it. They may have been able to finally destroy this guy and ruin his reputation to the point where it won't be it can't be salvaged. This was all a setup, and Greenwald should have known better. When you're a man of his stature, and when you have the political enemies that he has, you have to be extra, extra, extra careful. You and I are not anywhere near we don't have anywhere near the exposure this guy has, right? We don't have the enemies that this guy has. We have to be extra careful, because if you're at work, if you're at the gym, if you're anywhere and you give somebody, especially a woman, a certain look, or you go up to her maybe and you hit on her, it could be turned against you, and it could ruin your life. For this guy to do what he did is absurd, especially to wear women's clothing. I mean, Jesus Christ, a plaid miniskirt and a bikini top. What are these guys thinking? I mean, mental illness is just running rampant, and it's sexual disobedience at level red. But he will now have to go through, he'll have to hug the cactus. He's going to have to rehabilitate himself. He's going to have to reinvent himself in a way that, maybe people get past this. I don't think they will, because this video, if it's been leaked online, it's everywhere, and that means that anybody can see it. And I don't suggest anybody seeing it. I don't want to see that, but this is going to be something that will live with him forever. And the question is he has two kids, right? He had a civil union with another man. They adopted two children, which I'm not crazy about. I don't agree with it. Where were these kids when this was happening? How often does this happen? Are these kids in trouble? Are these kids in danger? Because this could be the tip of the iceberg. We don't know. I've seen Glenn Greenwald on TV all the time. I've read his articles all the time. He seems like a kind of level-headed guy. I mean, you don't know somebody until you know them, but we don't know how deep this goes. And people want to destroy him. Now this is the first salvo, and it's a shot to the kidneys, and you usually don't get up from this. I don't know if he's going to be able to get up from this, but if there's more out there, can he be trusted? Can you believe anything he writes anymore? Can you believe anything he says anymore? I mean, this is the guy that talked about the Russia propaganda hoax. He's the one who, is big on this. How do we know he's not an asset for these guys? How do we know that there's not tapes of him with 15 guys in a hotel room somewhere in Moscow, with vodka and pickles all over the place? And oh, geez, and he's getting his freak on there. I believe that this is a warning to him. It's a stern warning to say, we know what you are, and we're going to expose what you are. We have exposed what you are. And guess what? If there's more, if it's worse, if it's uglier, we're going to put it out there if you fuck with us. And this is what happens when you fuck with Israel. Greenwald, who is a Jew, but not a practicing Jew, has criticized the Israeli government and its foreign policy for years. What he's also done is he's criticized the influence of Israel on U.S. politics. He's criticized the Israeli occupation of the West Bank. And in the New York Times in 2015-16, he criticized Israel, and he labeled the Israeli government as having abject cowardice in its occupation of Gaza. And he accused journalists of malfeasance out of fear of the negative reaction of an influential faction, the Israeli government. That does not stand with those people. And if you're a Jew and they consider you a traitor, they're going to make an example out of you. And they have. They have made an example out of this guy in the worst way. And it's his own fault for being so undisciplined. Now, I don't like the word discipline, as you know, but in this case, you have to use it. He set himself up for disaster. And now his family has to deal with this. He has to deal with this. Anybody who reads his articles, anybody who deals with him, now has to wonder, what is going to happen if something else comes out? What's going to happen if he's presented with something that he just can't live with being exposed for? I mean, we're seeing it now all the time now. We're seeing all of these crazy stories of adults with children and these crazy sex orgy parties and all that. I mean, we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah. And it doesn't matter who it is anymore. It could be a movie star. It could be a rock star. It could be a politician, a financier. It could be anybody. All of these guys all these people are practicing this stuff, and it's madness. It's a sickness. It's evil. Satan is busy. Satan is having a party. This is Satan's theme park. He loves this shit. And these guys fall for it. And desire of the flesh always, always conquers man. Always. Unless you the practicing Stoic. Now, I hate to always say this because I believe that virtue is the most important thing we have in our core. But sexual disobedience has won again. It's claimed another victim. It's almost undefeated and it's almost unbeatable, especially in this day and age where people just chase sex like it's oxygen. They need it. They cannot live without it. And they don't care what they have to do to get it. They don't care how much money they have to pay. They don't care who it's with. They don't care what they have to wear. If it's going to be videotaped, they don't care about the consequences. They need that fix. And gentlemen, as I said before, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a president. People will, if they have the ability and they have the means, they will destroy you. They will destroy you just to see you destroyed. They revel in the destruction of the human being, especially the white Christian heterosexual male. Now, Greenwald isn't any of these. He's a homosexual Jew, and he's not of our ilk, but he betrayed his homeland, according to them, because they're the ones responsible for this. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And they have to make an example of him, and they have. And the stories of what this guy was doing, if you have the stomach for it, just look it up. I mean, being on his hands and knees and licking toes and sucking feet and doing all this shit. I mean, you just wonder, like, what. And listen, I am no prude. Okay, I like it freaky with women, of course. I like it freaky too. But there comes you're not getting me in a fucking plaid dress and bikini top and lipstick and. Yeah, that ain't shit. That shit ain't happening with me. Sorry, I'm too vain. But sex, toes, and videotape, the destruction of Glenn Greenwald, and I don't believe that he will survive this. I think that it's going to take a long time. He's going to have to disappear. The Stoics say if to rebuild yourself, you have to disappear first. You just can't do it in the spotlight. He's going to have to disappear. And we wish him luck. We hope that he first fixes his mentality, because he is a sick person. I mean, listen, I know he's a Jew, but he's an atheist, which explains a lot too. But he needs Jesus. He needs God. He needs God in his life. If there's anybody who needs God and the Stoics in their life, it's this guy. Somebody get this guy meditations immediately. Immediately. Because this guy's all fucked up. And he won't be able to survive this. His career won't, at least. Who knows? We'll see. We'll keep in touch. We'll keep an eye out on old Glenn. But and the man memo today, I wanted to go over how desire will destroy your judgment. It's one of Satan's greatest weapons. Whether you're a straight man or a gay man, desire of the flesh will destroy you. And you cannot let your desires destroy your judgment. Seneca would emphasize this over and over and over again. Desire can not only cloud your vision, but also destroy your judgment. As life becomes more complex, with new choices and responsibilities, the influence of desire can lead us to make very, very bad decisions. Ask Glenn Greenwald. Ask me. I make some stupid decisions when I see some hot chick, especially when they're married. I fuck up all the time. I'm I'm learning about this stuff, but the Stoics have saved me a little bit, but I still suffer. We get caught up in short-term wants, and we forget our more important long-term goals. We get sidetracked. Pussy will do that to you, and if you're gay, if you're homosexual, some guy's hairy ass will do that to you. Don't ask me how. I can't figure that out, but this is, again, desire of the flesh is one of Satan's greatest tools. And it's not only of the flesh. This can manifest in many areas. From making unwise financial investments to unhealthy relationships to soliciting prostitutes. And God forbid, going after people of a younger age. Every time you let desire take control, you not only lose your capacity for judgment, but you easily steer off the path you've set for yourself. And you can get lost in the wilderness of desire. And some guys just can't find their way out of it. This guy is almost 60 years old, Glenn Greenwald. He can't find his way out of it. And the problem with this guy is he is an atheist. So he can't turn, he won't. He thinks turning to God is silly. So he's going to be twirling in the wind, lost. The Stoic advice is to always carve out quiet time and establish habits that help you manage your desires. Write down your thoughts and feelings is the way I go. If I see something that I know it's too good to be true, or I know it's going to be of a short-term pleasure, I seriously sit, close my eyes, think about it, and then I write it down. I write down the pros and the cons, and the cons always outweigh the pros. And this practice will not only clarify your desires, but also create space for analytical thinking and evaluation. Something we don't do when we see that chick wiggling by us, or when we want to buy that clothes or that car when we really don't need to spend that money. Instead of sitting back, taking a step back, breathing, and just jot down on a piece of paper the pros and cons of this, you'll all of a sudden see that your value, your core value, your conscience will tell you to make the right decision. And the right decision is always leave it alone. I don't need that car today. I don't need that expensive jacket today. I don't need that blonde that's, engaged or with a dating some guy or runs around with a bunch of different guys. You don't need that in your life. Trust me, I've made those mistakes. Learn from my stupidity. Now, there are studies that show that individuals who manage their emotions and desires tend to have a higher quality of life. Your life is so much better when you keep the drama and desires out. When you keep it across the street, let somebody else have to deal with it. Stanford University did a study. Those who practice mindfulness are better at making decisions and feel happier in their lives. When you're thinking, when your thoughts are clear and genuine and true, you don't fuck up. You bat 1,000. And this indicates that managing desire not only improves our mood, but also enables us to make better choices. The Godfather had a great line where he says, never hate your enemies because it clouds your judgment. Hate, desire, lust, all that shit, it fucks up your brain. To bring this philosophy to life, you must start by practicing to meditate you don't have to sit down and cross your legs in the middle of nowhere, but just think, breathe. Breathing exercises help. They do wonders. I know it sounds corny, but it really is. It really is a helpful tool for you. By doing this, this helps calm the mind, slows everything down, creating space for lucid thoughts about your desires. You won't have buyer's remorse anymore. That's what buyer's remorse is. That short-term desire that, after you buy something or after you bed some chick, and I get it. Listen, you get a hot chick in bed, there are no regrets, but there can be regrets if she's got baggage, or if 9 months later you got baggage. But when your thoughts are clear, you outweigh the cons, the pros and the cons of those desires, and you make better choices. And additionally, challenging yourself to resist those short-term temptations will make you grow. And you can challenge yourself with these short-term temptations for a certain period of time, and with certain things. If you eat candy bars, you know what? Instead of the desire to buy that candy bar, don't do it tomorrow. And see how proud of yourself you'll be. If you spend money on Amazon, go a week without doing it. You'll feel a level of accomplishment. This practice not only helps you control your desires, but also builds your self-confidence. When you don't feel the need to succumb to your desires, you feel like you're evolving like the man you should. You're developing, you're creating, you're evolving, you have purpose. And always remember that your judgment is the most valuable talent that we have. When people say don't judge me, they are as empty and as toxic as it gets, because they know that judgment is for everybody. They know their flaws. We know our flaws, but we're smart enough to recognize them and to try to work on them. We can't allow desires to dominate us. You can make decisions based on wisdom and your core values. You'll stay committed to your choices, and you'll find life becomes more fulfilling and meaning in every moment. No desire, no drama, and you'll have nothing but peace in your life. And that's what you need. That's the big word, peace. Because desires of the flesh, as Glenn Greenwald knows, bring nothing but horror. And that's the memo. All right. Well, I hope that helps. This was an impromptu. It seems like I'm doing a podcast almost every night now, because I just can't keep up with the madness that's going on here. But hopefully this channel begins to grow. I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care if anybody looks or listens or watches or likes or dislikes. I don't give a shit. This is therapeutic for me. I like it. I'm getting addicted to it. This is becoming a habit, right? Not discipline. I'm not forcing myself to do this. It's becoming a habit, and that's what you need. Purposeful habits. All right. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And as we could have told Glenn Greenwald and all the many other thousands and millions of people that are probably succumbing to this satanic desire, Satan is busy, and he's winning right now. Satan is winning big time. Be a man, gentlemen. Have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. We'll see you later.